Hey viewers, welcome back to Andy's Garage. Hey, as you can see, I've got the 96 Geo Tracker back in the garage today. She brought it back. She has water leaking over on the passenger side after it rains. I've tracked down the leak. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming in. I know where it's coming in on the inside of the vehicle, but where it's seeping into from the outside is what I'm still working on. I found a few spots. I think it might be coming in. I put some RTV in some of those spots, and I'm kind of waiting for it to cure a little bit before I test it again. She also brought it in because the driver's seat is stuck too far back. So anyway, I wasn't going to make a video on this because it wasn't really that big of a deal, but I thought I'd go ahead and make a video. Anyway, I already took the seat out, and I'll show you how I got it out when I put it back in. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what was wrong with this seat. Hey viewers, all right, what was wrong with this seat was this wire right here that goes from this side of the track to that side of the track. And what was happening is when you release the lever, you'll see these open up here. That opens up there, and it opens up there. Well, what happened is this wire here had slipped a little bit right here, and what I had to do was, I'll show you here, was I just took this wire out of this hole right there, and I just made another bend a little further back than the original bend. The original bend was about right here. So I just went ahead and made the bend right here, and now let's get this back on here. There we go. And now when I pull the lever here, she opens up. Because before, this side would release, because obviously that's the side that's connected directly to this handle, but this side would not release. So once I just kind of shortened the length of that cable up, took a little bit of that slack out, now she works perfectly fine. All right, let's go ahead and put her back in. As you can see, I already put the seat back in the vehicle. There's actually 5 bolts. There's one here. There's one right there. There's going to be one right there. And then the other 2 I have to get on the back seat. There's one that goes, actually I got to pull the seat forward. There's one that goes right here. And then the 5th one, let me pull this seat forward slightly, and I'll show you. And that 5th one goes right there. That one tripped me up for a second because I took the other 4 out and it wasn't coming out. So I messed with the seat a little bit, pulled it forward, and found that bolt right there. And before I forget to tell you, got the seat belt connector right here. You got to connect that back up. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna get those bolts put back in. All right, I got the seat back in, and I got this plastic trim cover put back in. All right, let's go ahead and test it out. Lever up, seat goes back. All right, these 2 front bolts here, this one here and that one over there, they had these little rubber caps that go over the head of the bolt. Anyway, let's move this forward. There you go. All right, there you go. Now she works. Okay, viewers. All right, now where this thing is leaking on the inside, it's coming that pillar, but it's like, and I don't know if I can get you see up there, but it's way, I got the blower motor in the way. But yeah, it's way up in there is where she's leaking at. And this whole floorboard gets just sopping wet. So, fooled around a little bit. Was able to remove this fender. And what I thought at first is I crudely put some RTV here. When the water was running off the windshield, it was running down into here. Oh, sorry. Do that again. When it was running down the windshield, it was running down into here. And there was pretty good gap in the panel here. And then there was some rusting in this area right here. And I thought, well, maybe, you know, it was coming through here at first. And that wasn't it. And this was pretty rusty looking there. So I thought, well, maybe there's some rust jacketing going on or something. But it wasn't it either. So found another spot underneath the hood right down in here. That's kind of the same way. So I shot a little RTV on there. Then another thing I noticed was right here, because this is like when I got, let me backtrack a little bit here. Okay. So after I did this and it wasn't leaking, and I did this last night, when I came back this morning, it was still leaking. I was able to get my head up a little further up into the area up underneath the dash, and it looked like it was coming from more in this area here versus all the way over here. So what I did find though too is this is the hood release cable, and right here I threw a little RTV on there because there was a pretty good sized hole on that grommet, and the water was running down and over on top of that. So that was another thing I did. But if that's it, I don't know. Those last two places I just showed you, that rubber grommet and then that spot underneath the hood, those were the last two places that I did the RTV on. So we'll try not to blind you with these stinking lights in here. Anyway, so I'm going to wait and see if that's the areas where she's leaking. I did that probably an hour ago, maybe. So I'm going to give it just a little bit more time to cure. And then I've got a gallon jug of water here I've been using to test. Then, like I said, I'm going to give it about another hour more to cure, or not necessarily cure, but dry a little better. And then I'm going to test her again. Hey viewers, I think I may have solved the water mystery. Back in this corner here, and that little black blob there, was like a little round, it's like a round plastic clip that was going in there. And then right down there in that bottom of that corner there was a transition of multiple panels. What was happening is I would pour water. Here, I'll show you. I got to recoat this, but anyway, that wasn't the problem, because as soon as I would pour water down the windshield, come through here and down into here, and I was also pouring water up in here, so I actually thought there's a gasket underneath the hinge bracket here, and I thought that is what was leaking back behind this panel here, because you got this piece of frame rail here, and I thought water was seeping in underneath here, because what's happening was water was dripping down out from between this panel and this rail, and that's where the water was penetrating. So I did this. Well, I did this first over in here, because that's where I was originally, you know, pouring water down the windshield. And like I said, I had to wait for that to harden up. I did that yesterday. And so when I came out this morning, you know, I did some more along here and along here. Then I had to wait for that to dry. Still didn't solve the problem. So I thought, well, let me see. So I thought, well, maybe it's around this hinge bracket for the hood. So, did that, had to wait for it to set up, poured water, still leaked. So I came back down into here where my problem was. So I put some sealant here, thinking maybe as it's coming down to here or something, it's seeping into there, like right up in here. But nope, that wasn't it. And this was the hood cable I was talking about earlier, where I just put a little bit right there. But I went ahead and put some around the whole grommet and waited for that to dry up a little bit. Poured water, still didn't take care of it. So I thought, well, I went ahead and I splattered a really nasty job, but anyway, put some on that seam there. That didn't do anything. Well, as I was pouring water up here a couple hours ago, I noticed there was a hole here and water was starting to dribble in there a little bit, and I thought, well, maybe if I patch up that hole, it'll stop. Well, patched it up, obviously waited for it to start drying a little bit, came back out here, poured water, nothing, still leaked. So I thought, well, what could it be? And I thought, well, the only other places around here were this area here, all the way down that seam into that corner. And then I noticed this little plastic-like plug. So I sealed around all that. Well, after that all cured, I came back out here, and it seems to stop the problem, because what was happening was, before, you could see when I would pour water up in here, it would find its way and seep down in through here, and then up in here is where there's another seam in that panel, and I can't get up in there, but that's where that leak was, and it was coming down this way. So once I put that sealant back in that far corner and over that plastic cap, seems like it stopped. So I'm gonna wait for it to fully cure. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer, and then that way I'll know for sure if that was the problem. But like I said, as of now, it is, because it's not doing anything now. Once I sealed up that, here, I'll show you. As soon as I sealed all this up here, all of this here, all the way down, and then that cap, that's right here, just a plastic cap that goes into the firewall. As soon as I sealed those up, I saw like a little tiny drop come out of this side panel that I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to wait for that sealant to fully cure, and then I'm going to probably throw another light layer on there, and then that should resolve the problem. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the problem has been located. Like I said, I was able to easily find it inside the vehicle, because like I said, because I can see it running down that plastic kick plate that was on that inside of that pillar there. And once I took that out, I can see the water tracks coming down that frame. So I thought, okay, I know where it's coming in for sure. And I was hoping that forums would help me out on this. And a lot of people had AC condenser drain issues, but it wasn't coming from the very front. It was coming from the side. So I knew right away it wasn't going to be a condenser issue. A lot of people had windshield leaks. Although this does have a cracked windshield, that crack is way too high. And then not only that, I don't see any water track marks, so I knew it wasn't going to be the windshield. So, but yeah, I said, as soon as I started pouring water over it, I can tell right away where she was leaking on the inside, because it was just pouring in. But anyway, that's what I discovered. And if somebody else should run into a problem with these Geo Trackers, or the Suzuki Sidekicks, You know, you run into this, maybe this is your area of a leak, but who knows? Because with water, as you guys know, you know, water can trickle its way through all sorts of places, and then you think you know where it is, but it actually starts somewhere completely different. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to consider this thing done. Once this cures, I'm going to go ahead and throw another real light coat of sealant over that corner and that plastic cap. Then I'm going to put the fender back on and ship her out of here. Anyway, hope this video was helpful. And if it was, like, subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.